Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Committee of Adjustment meeting. The committee will hear applications for minor variances and consents. We'll make a decision following each application. We'll call each application by name and number and ask anyone who wishes to speak to give their name to the secretary so it can be recorded, and you'll get your opportunity. There is a 20-day waiting period after today's decision in order to allow time to appeal to the OMB. If you're the applicant or agent, you'll automatically get a copy of the decision in writing. If you're not and you want a decision in writing, you can sign the clipboard at the back of the room and request that. When you do speak, remember to push the button on the microphone so we can hear you, and smile for the cameras. You are on television. So, are there any declarations of conflicts by committee members? None? I have a motion here by Larry, seconded by Dennis, and resolved that the minutes of the Committee of Adjustment meeting held Wednesday, May 17th, 2017, be adopted as circulated. Are there any errors or omissions? Those in favor of the motion? Motion's carried. And our first application is AN080, in the name of Kenneth and Wendy Hill. Is there anyone here to speak to this one? Mr. Higgins, welcome. Anyone else? Okay, we'll have the planner explain the report then.
Thank you. So this is a minor variance application for lands located at the corner of Pansy Ave and Ontario Street in Port Dover. And this application is also related to two boundary adjustment applications. The applicants are proposing a 3-meter exterior side yard setback where 6 meters is required. And planning staff have conducted a site inspection, and we feel that the application is outside of the site triangles, and that it's similar character with this neighborhood, and therefore the application meets the 4 tests of the minor variance, and planning staff recommend approval.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions of the planner? No? Okay, thank you. For application AN080, it's been moved by Rudy, seconded by Dennis, that the committee hereby approves this application, which is an application to construct a new dwelling requiring relief of 3 meters from the minimum permitted exterior side yard of 6 meters to permit a side yard of 3 meters. In accordance with Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the proposed development and requested relief is considered appropriate, minor, and maintains the intent of the official plan, and that no public input was received and therefore not considered as part of the decision. Any further discussion? Those in favor of the motion? Motion carried. So then we have BN 78 and 79, same time. And the same people are here, so we'll continue.
Okay, thank you. So the following 2 applications are both boundary adjustment applications and are related to the minor variance as well. And the subject lands are part of a registered plan, so they include lots 90, 91, and 92. But it should be noted that they currently function as one lot. So the applicants are proposing to do a boundary adjustment for a portion of lands on lot 91. So these lands will be boundary adjusted both to the north and to the south, and the end result is that they are creating an additional lot in the urban boundary of Port Dover. So this application is an infill application, which meets the intent of the PPS and the official plan. So planning staff recommend approval of these boundary adjustment applications, subject to the attached conditions.
Okay, thank you. So we'll deal with 78 first. Any discussion? Okay, Marcel moves. Larry? So for application BN 078, it's been moved by Marcel, seconded by Larry, that the committee approves the application to sever a parcel with a frontage of 7 meters, a width of 7 meters, a depth of 99.1 feet, an area of 211.8 square meters, and retain a parcel with an area of 157 square meters as a boundary adjustment. The lands are to be added to the existing parcel located immediately adjacent to the north, which is lot number 90 in the Register Plan 87B in Port Dover, and the final lot size there will be 6,231 square feet. And the subject application does comply with the provincial policy statement and conforms to the policies of the Norfolk County Official Plan regarding lot creation in an urban area, and no public input was received, therefore not considered as part of the application. Is there further discussion? Those in favor? That's carried. Then we have BN 79, is the other one? Okay, thank you. So for BN 079, it's been moved by Dan, seconded by Dennis, that the committee approves the application to sever a parcel with a frontage of 5.2 meters, a width of 5.2 meters, a depth of 30.3 meters, an area of 157 square meters as a boundary adjustment, and the lands are to be added to the existing parcel immediately adjacent to the south, which is lot number 92 in Register Plans 87B Port Dover, making its final lot size 527.4 square meters. The application does comply with the provincial policy statement and conforms with the policies of Norfolk County Official Plan regarding lot creation in an urban area, and then no public input was received, therefore not considered as part of the application. Is there further discussion? Those in favor of the motion? Opposed? It's carried. Our next application is AN 075, Stuart and Amy McLaren. Is there anyone here for this one? No? Well, sorry, Mr. Higgins? Any magic? We'll have the planner explain the report then.
The subject lands are approximately half an acre in size and front onto the west side of Woodhouse Ave in Port Dover. The property is vacant. A vacant lot abuts the subject lands to the north and west, with urban residential uses beyond that lot and to the east. The lot borders Lake Erie to the south. Public input was received after this report was finalized, and I will discuss it a little later in my presentation. The applicant is proposing to construct a dwelling requiring relief from the minimum interior side yard setback. The Planning Act sets out criteria for minor variances, that the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw is maintained, that the request for relief is minor, and that the proposed development is appropriate and compatible with surrounding development. The subject lands are designated hazard lands in the official plan. However, they are zoned urban residential type 1, R1A, which permits residential development. The subject lands also have special provision 14.584. This provision states, in lieu of the corresponding provisions in the R1A zone, the following shall apply. Minimum interior side yard, right, 7.5 meters, minimum rear yard, 3 meters, and minimum setback from top of bank, 10 meters. The intention of this provision was to recognize the fact that a dwelling built on this property would face the lake rather than Woodhouse Ave, and as such, the yards as defined in the zoning bylaw would not function in their traditional manner. The front yard and rear yard would function as side yards, the right side yard would function as a rear yard, and the left side yard would function as a front yard. I've included illustrations of this to make it clear in the report. The intention of the minimum yard requirements in the zoning bylaw is to ensure adequate amenity space is available on the subject lands. In low-density neighborhoods such as this, open green space is part of the community appeal and character. Staff are of the opinion that the proposed development does not conform to the intention of the zoning bylaw. There's almost no amenity space remaining on the property outside of the proposed building envelope. The area functioning as the front yard slopes immediately at the edge of the building envelope. When considering the existing reduced rear yard, which functions as a side yard, and proposed reduction in the rear yard, there would be very little open space remaining on the property. The proposal is considered overdevelopment of the lot. It is not appropriate on the subject lands. Staff have completed a site inspection and are of the opinion that the proposed development is not minor in nature or desirable in this instance. The proposed development is not compatible with the character of the surrounding neighborhood, as there will be little space for outdoor use. It cannot be considered minor as it substantially changes the usability of the property. We did receive 2 letters, which the committee should have in front of them. Both letter writers outlined opposition to this proposal, and their general opinions were that the requested relief is not minor, it will negatively impact property values, and it will detract from the character of the neighborhood. In order for staff to support a minor variance, it must meet the 4 tests as outlined at the beginning of my report. In this case, it's the professional opinion of community planning staff that the relief fails to meet 3 of the tests. It cannot be considered minor in nature, appropriate development, and it doesn't meet the intent of the Norfolk County zoning bylaw. As such, planning staff do not support this application and recommend that it be refused.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the planner at this point?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there's the last paragraph in the letter from the Zurbis talks about an OMB decision. Does that OMB decision refer specifically to this piece of land? Does that OMB decision refer specifically to this piece of land?
Through the chair, yes, it does. I believe so.
Thank you.
Just a question here. When I look at the map, and it shows the subject lands, that leaves does that leave an L-shaped lot blank, empty?
Yes, there is a second lot that's L-shaped that's around it that is still vacant.
It's still vacant. And they're talking about putting this house way at the back of this property, so it would be
Yes.
close.
Yeah.
Just making sure. Mr. Higgins, anything you wish to talk to us about?
Could you put up one of the slides that shows the lots? There you go. Just a little bit of history on this property is that it was Bob Hunter was the original owner, and he created 3 lots there. One to the north, which was I've got a house built on it now, and these 2 vacant lots. At that time, he did a geotechnical report and the geotechnical report basically said that the slope is a stable slope. He also put in shoreline protection. So anyway, after he did that, he made application for the severances. As part of the application for rezoning, these yards were incorporated, as Alicia said, because it is a unique situation and it is a lakeside lot. But they passed the bylaw in order to accomplish Mr. Hunter's vision of what he wanted to do on the property. He then sold the lot, and now these new owners have their own vision of what they want to do on the property. So as you know, lots along the lake are more unique, and people usually build nice houses, and most of the development or most of the activity is between the house and the lake. And there is ample area for green space and open space on this property. It was my understanding that the side yard basically was put into place with respect to a view of some sort for some people to the north. When you're looking at the 4 tests regarding minor variances, Does the proposal maintain the general intent purpose of the official plan? Yes, it does. It's designated residential. We're proposing residential. Does the proposal maintain the general intent purpose of the zoning bylaw? I would say yes. Because it's a residential use, it conforms to the general intent of the bylaw because it's a residential use, it's zoned residential. The actual interior side yard, which by definition this would be an interior side yard, is 1.2 meters. We're just basically asking to go back to 1.2 meters rather than 7.5. Is it desirable and appropriate development for the use of land? Yes, it is. It's residential areas, residential use. Is the proposal minor? I would say the extent of the impact of the proposed development on the neighboring properties as a whole is minor or non-existent. The mass of the proposal will not create any significant issues for the abutting properties. And the use will be similar in size to the existing dwellings that are already in the area. What we're asking for basically is an increase of about 6% of the lot building envelope. And that's minor in my opinion. Lots along the lake usually have larger houses, and the amenity areas are mainly between the house, as I mentioned before, and the lake. A little bit more history on this property was we started with the building envelope using the 10 meters as in the special exception. Turns out that the Conservation Authority wanted us to have a 47-meter setback from the toe of the shoreline protection, which actually made the building envelope even smaller. So that's the reason for the variance, is because the Conservation Authority's rules and regulations with respect to building along the lake. So it's my opinion that the variance is in keeping with the intent of the official plan and the intent of the zoning bylaw, and it is minor in nature. There was some discussion with respect to the Ontario Municipal Board hearing that was done. That was done as a result of the comprehensive zoning bylaw, and there was some changes done, and the person who had objected to that portion of the zoning bylaw is based upon its view. And it should be noted also that this building envelope is smaller than the building envelope on the vacant lot to the west. So that lot carries an even larger building envelope than this one. Any questions?
Not right now. Dennis?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just one question. You mentioned that at some time in the past, the slope was deemed stable.
Yes, there was a geotechnical report done by Peter McCallum, and the Conservation Authority approved it.
Was that the report that we have referenced in our application as 206, October 206? Is that the reference?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Dan?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Do we agree, do planning staff agree with the position stated in the last paragraph of the Zerby letter? For instance, that minor variance is ultra-virus.
Through the chair, that's not accurate. You can apply for a variance even if a decision is made through the Ontario Municipal Board, you can still submit a planning application to change that in the future. It's not stuck like that forever. So it's just like if council made a decision, you could come back another day and apply for something else there.
Thank you.
May I say one more thing?
Yes, please.
The variance basically allows for us to have a larger building envelope, but it's not to say that we're going to use the whole building envelope for a house. It just basically allows us to have an innovation with design and location on the property. It's not we're going to fill it right up.
What size of house are they proposing at this point?
We don't know. That's why we have a building envelope that we can design something that will be appropriate for the area and appropriate for a lakeshore lot.
Okay. Any other questions of the agent? Dennis?
Just one question, I guess, in relation to the building envelope. Is it safe to say that the likelihood is that you would take advantage of that full envelope? Is that a fair statement?
I don't know, because I don't know the desire of the developer at this point in time, or the homeowner.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am? Okay. First of all, what your name is? Okay. You have a letter here? Did you wish to speak to us, or? Okay. That will be done for sure. Mr. Hunter? Well, it's unusual, but since the last speaker referred to you, I'll allow it if you want to. Thank you. Okay. Just for future reference, if you don't tell me you want to speak before we start, you're not going to get to speak. So I will give you the opportunity because I gave them the opportunity, sir.
special provisions of the zoning bylaw, section 14.584, apply to 51 and 53 Woodhouse Avenue. And I'm here to object to any consideration of the reduction in the side yard with respect to Woodhouse Avenue and any consideration of a minor variance of 51 Woodhouse Avenue. The zoning bylaw is quite specific. I attended before the municipal board stated my case, unfortunately, he was dismissed. And I'm very concerned that because of the unique nature of this application, there are no voids in the ground, no building plans. It would suggest that the owner is attempting to take advantage of a larger building envelope in order to seek a higher market return on their investment. The property has been listed since returns acquired the property in 2009. And they're using the committee of adjustment minor variance application for speculative purposes. At the applicant, in coming forward, the committee of adjustment will request for variance because footing was in place for something along the lines of the minor application, then I would look at an entirely different. But this is purely a decision to reduce the site size, something that I would strongly oppose. And one of my position here should be choose the other decision to make adjustment makes choose to advance this application further and not further. Say that the matters that I addressed in my letter are also invited to
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, so we've heard from the speakers, we've heard from the planning. And Mr. Higgins would like to, yes. Please.
The reason we came to the Committee of Adjustment for a variance to the building envelope primarily was because of the fact that we want to have a building envelope as large as possible so that, yes, it gives us the flexibility to locate a dwelling on the house, on the lot. And this was was deemed a better approach rather than spend all the money on house designs and then putting in a foundation and then finding out that it didn't fit and then having to apply for a variance after putting out all that money. The other thing is that it was also thought to go through the Committee of Adjustment rather than go to the Long Point Region Conservation Authority Board because the Conservation Authority staff said that they would not support a reduction in the setback from the 47 meters. So we thought that the Committee of Adjustment would be a better route. And when it comes to improving properties with respect to larger building envelopes, again, the market will bear what the market will bear. In any event, that's just wanted to make those few points.
Appreciate that, thank you. Okay, so now we're just going to go to strictly committee discussion at this point. I can interject briefly. I don't usually, but when I first looked at the application, I thought it was a lot of building for the property. And now when I find out they don't have a design for the building or a size of building they want to build yet, I'm wondering what we're doing here. If it was like they wanted to put up a 1,200 square foot house and they wanted to build it 2 feet closer to the line, that's pretty minor. But I think that building envelope, it looked like it's 3,000 square feet to me, and they don't know how big of a house they want to build. So they don't know if they need to go closer to the line or not. So I would prefer to see plans in place of what they want to build in order to know whether we should allow it or not. That's just simply my opinion. Dennis?
Mr. Chairman, I was thinking along the same lines. I don't recall that in the past we've dealt with situations where we haven't seen the plans. And it's a little bothersome to me to approve something without seeing plans in front of me. So it's an issue with me for sure. Thank you.
Having said that, there's nothing that says we can't deal with it if we wish to. Dan?
Mr. Chairman, I think it's been mentioned, but no specifics. How far do they have to stay away from the cliff? If I can't describe it any better than that.
Right.
Is there a
Top of the bank?
regulation that they have to stay back so many meters?
Through the chair, it's 10 meters to the top of bank.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chairman, would you think a motion to defer would be appropriate in this particular case?
Well, I haven't really heard too much from committee, but in my opinion, yeah.
Well, for the same reasons that you and Dennis have stated. If we could see what where the building was located, it might be easier to make a decision on this.
Eric?
I'm having a hard time assessing the impact without seeing a footprint. So I would make the second Dan's motion for deferral.
Marcel? Oh, okay, sorry. Stranger things have happened. Mr. Higgins, you've heard what the conversation is. Would your client prefer a deferral or a defeat? Okay. Actually, I have a motion and a second. Yep. Yeah. And you, sir?
Just a point of order. How is anyone in opposition expected to register an appeal to a deferral? What's the time frame of the deferral? What rights do the property owners have with
Okay.
respect to further notice
Yeah.
should such a submission occur?
Yeah.
It's a minor variance application. You get one kick at the can. Either it's approved or rejected. This deferral is highly irregular and out of order.
I'll oblige you and tell you that I've been chairman of this committee for 26 years. That deferrals are a fact of life. If you were notified for this meeting, you will be notified for that meeting. If you weren't notified for this meeting, sign the clipboard at the back of the room and you will be notified for the meeting. And there is no time frame on a deferral. If it's a defeat, a new application can come in next week or next year or 10 years. So it's really no difference than asking them to refile again. It's only a little more convenient because the price is cheaper. And we're not here to overtax people if we can. So, for you to say it's one kick of the can, either approve or deny, that's not true. So, now, we'll continue. For application AN 075, it's been moved by Dan, seconded by Eric. The committee hereby defers the application to allow the applicant time to resubmit more accurate planning or plans of building. Deferrals aren't debatable, therefore, those in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Do me a favor? Still a reason. Okay, our next application is BN 084. It's in the name of Adam and Christina Litwin. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak regarding the application? You, sir? Actually, you can deal with them both at the same time? Okay, so we're dealing with applications 84 and 85. And we'll have the planner explain the report.
Thank you. So these applications, the reason why they're being done together is because, as you can see up there, the parcel at the top and the parcel at the bottom are proposing to be severed into the same size, and the same policies for the official plan and zoning bylaw applied to both, so it'd just be easier to do it one time as opposed to both of them. So the subject lands are 508 square meters in size and are located on the east side of Norfolk Street in the urban area of Waterford. These lands currently contain tilled land for a garden and have a residential dwelling adjacent to the property. The surrounding lands include urban residential lands. A comment was received from Public Works, and if the applications are approved, that both severed parcels require an entrance permit. And our zoning administrator also made a comment that the existing shed on the retained lands is deficient and it requires a 1.2 meter setback from the rear lot line. In the Norfolk County official plan, these lands are designated as urban residential. Section 4.7.1 states that the predominant use of land shall be a variety of urban dwelling types, including single detached dwellings, semi-detached dwellings, duplex dwellings, and similar low-profile residential dwellings. Section 9.6.3.2, subsection C of the official plan states that the following criteria should be considered when an application for consent. That consent shall only be granted when the land fronts onto an existing assumed public road that is maintained on a year-round basis, shall have the effect of infilling in existing areas and not extending the existing development. Creation of the lot does not compromise the long-term use of the remaining land or retained parcel. The surrounding properties will not be negatively impacted by the severance application because they fit well into the existing character of the neighborhood. The application complies with the R2 zone and therefore meets the intent of the Norfolk County zoning bylaw. It is the professional opinion of community planning staff that the proposed severance application meets the intent of the Norfolk County official plan and zoning bylaw. As such, planning staff support this application and recommend that it be approved, subject to the following conditions.
Thank you. Any questions of the planner? There is a letter of objection too, right? From one of the neighbors?
I forgot to mention that, yeah, there was a letter from one of the neighbors, and where is it? So the letter basically outlines that there were some concerns regarding the amount of infill that was going to be happening on these properties, and so to address the one argument, the proposed is for single residential dwellings as opposed to multiple dwelling units or complexes. In regards to their comment regarding Hydro, Hydro 1 had no comments regarding this application, and there's, in regards to their last paragraph there's also a condition to remove the shed on the retained lands as well, so in reference to their letter.
Thank you. Did you wish to speak to us, sir, or just good? Okay. Committee. Rudy. Okay, thank you. For application BN 084, it's been moved by Rudy, seconded by Eric, that the committee hereby approves this application to sever a parcel with a frontage of 17.69 meters, a width of 17.69 meters, a depth of 28.71 meters, an area of 508 square meters, and retain a parcel with an area of 1,383 square meters as the creation of a lot within the urban area of Waterford. The subject application conforms to the policies of the provincial policy statement, the Norfolk County official plan, and the zoning bylaw regarding severances in the urban residential area, and that public input was received. And therefore was considered as part of the application. And the conditions, of course, are outlined in the motion. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Carried. Then we have 85. Dennis, Larry. So for BN 85, it's been moved by Dennis, second by Larry, that the committee approves the application to sever a parcel with a frontage of 17.69 meters, a width of 17.69 meters, a depth of 28.71 meters, an area of 508 square meters, retaining a parcel with 875 square meters as the creation of a lot within the urban area of Waterford. The application does conform to the policies of the provincial policy statement, the Norfolk County official plan, and the zoning bylaw regarding severances in the urban area, and that public input was received and therefore was considered as part of this application. Further discussion? Those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, our next application is BN 037, Karen Patricia Culver. Anyone here for this one? Welcome. Okay, we're going to have the planner explain the report.
Thank you. So this is a severance application for the creation of a new lot in the urban area of Simcoe. And this application was previously deferred to allow the applicant time to basically address some of the, and clarify some of the conditions. So the total lot size for the proposed severance is 0.26 acres. And the applicant has noted that they can now address the conditions of the severance. The application represents infill and intensification in Simcoe, and planning staff recommend approval subject to the attached conditions.
Thank you very much. Any questions of the planner? Mr. Klein, all is good with you?
Oh, no comment, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Dennis?
Move approval, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I have a motion by Dennis, seconded by Marcel. The committee hereby approves the application to sever a parcel with a frontage of 23.5 meters, a width of 23.5 meters, a depth of 45.72 meters, having an area of 1,074.42 square meters, and retain a parcel with an area of 9.14 acres as the creation of a lot in the urban area of Simcoe. The application is consistent with the policies of the provincial policy statement and conforms to Norfolk County official plan regarding creation of a new lot in an urban area, and that no public input was received, therefore not considered as part of the application. there any further discussion? Those in favor? Motion's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, how'd that happen? Because he was beside Shirley Black's place initially, and then we moved him on to Norfolk Street.
Okay, our next application's BN 036, Ernest and Susan House. Anyone here for this one? Mr. Klein. We'll have the planner explain the report.
Thank you. An application's been received to several parcel having frontage of 76.54 meters, a width of 91.69 meters, a depth of 76.41 meters, and having an area of 6,870.9 square meters, and retain a parcel having an area of approximately 9.27 hectares as the creation of a lot in the agricultural area. Subject lands are approximately 0.6 hectares in size and front onto Highway 24 with an exterior side yard on Wyndham Road 3 to the south. The lands are part of a larger farm parcel which is approximately 9.27 hectares in size. An existing farm market and greenhouse is located on the property. Half of the subject lands are gravelled for parking in relation to the farm market stand. A portion of the subject lands proposed to be severed are currently being tilled for active crop production. The subject lands are surrounded by agricultural lands to the north and east, and Great Mountain Ginseng and Welsh Brothers to the south. The applicant has previously submitted and received approval for a zoning bylaw amendment application 2016. The zoning bylaw amendment added a site-specific provision 14.654 to the subject lands, which permits a commercial greenhouse, a tree and plant nursery, and a fruit and vegetable outlet. This committee heard this report already in April of 2017. Staff at that time had recommended approval, and the applicant or agent requested deferral in order to speak to the MTO about some of the conditions they were requesting at that time. Since then, the agent and MTO have worked out what they needed to. The MTO has removed their conditions for this application, and those conditions would be applied to any future site plan for this site. I won't bother going into the planning rationale because the committee's already heard it in the past, but I will summarize with that planning staff are the opinion the subject application is consistent with the PPS and conforms to the OP respecting lot creation and the agricultural related, as it's an agriculture related use in the ag designation. Planning staff recommend that this application be approved subject to the attached conditions.
Thank you. Questions of the planner? Okay. I have a motion by Larry, second by Dan, that the committee hereby approves the application to sever a parcel with a frontage of 76.45 meters, a width of 91.69 meters, depth of 76.41 meters, and having an area of 6,870.9 square meters, and retain a parcel with approximately 22.91 acres. As the creation of a lot in the agricultural area, the subject application is consistent with the provincial policy statement and conforms to Norfolk County official plan regarding lot creation in the agricultural area, and that no public input was received, therefore not considered as part of the application, and the conditions are outlined in the motion. Did you have something, Mr. Klein? I forgot to ask.
I'm quite content.
All righty. Those in favor of the motion? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
We doing all three together or separately or? Separately? Okay. The next three applications are AN 70, then BN 68, and BN 69. They're all in the name of Raymar Farms, Inc. All three of you. We'll have the planner explain the report. One at a time.
So an application has been received to recognize the following deficiency created through BNPL 2017-069 to require relief of 73 square meters from the maximum permitted usable floor area for accessible buildings on surplus farm dwelling lots to permit a total usable floor area of 273 square meters. The subject lands are 1 acre in size and are located on the north side of Norfolk County Road 19 West in the geographic township of Windham. The lands contain a single detached dwelling, an existing workshop, and an existing garage that was built in 2004. Both the accessory buildings are in good physical condition. There is a residential dwelling adjacent to the property on the west side of the surrounding land uses include agricultural lands, hazard lands, and provincially significant wetlands. The subject lands are zoned as agricultural in the Norfolk County Official Plan. Section 4.2.1K states non-farm related rural residential shall not be permitted except in accordance with Section 4.2.3 agricultural lot creation and lot adjustment policies or on an existing lot of record subject to the other applicable policies of this plan. Section 4.2.1M states that uses accessory to any of the permitted uses in the agricultural designation are permitted, and the proposed variance will allow the property owner to keep the existing workshop and garage as it currently functions as part of the proposed rural residential lot. The applicant has also applied for a severance through application BNPL 2017-069. The application conforms to the intent of the official plan. Section 3.36 of the Norfolk County zoning bylaw states, any existing accessory buildings and structures existing on the severed lot at the time of the severance shall be deemed to be granted relief from the applicable building height and accessory building or structural lot coverage regulations existing at the same time of the severance, and relief from the usable floor area regulation to a maximum of 200 square meters. It is the professional opinion of community planning staff that the minor variance meets the intent of the Norfolk County Official Plan and Norfolk County zoning bylaw. As such, planning staff support this application and recommend that it be approved.
Thank you. Questions of the planner? Eric? Okay. That was 70, right? For application AN 070, it's been moved by Eric, seconded by Larry, that the committee hereby approves the application for a minor variance to recognize the following deficiency created through BN 069, which is relief of 73 square meters from the maximum permitted usable floor area for accessory buildings on surplus farm dwelling lots of 200 square meters to permit a 273 square meter building. In accordance with Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, the development and requested relief is considered appropriate, minor, maintains the intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw, and that no public input was received or considered as part of this application. Further discussion? Those in favor? Motion's carried. 68 or 69? Go, let me know.
So an application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 14 meters, an irregular width of 14 meters, a depth of 45.72 meters, and having an area of 656 square meters as a boundary adjustment. These lands are to be added to existing residential parcel located immediately to the west. The final lot size will be 2,307 square meters. The subject lands are 556 square meters in size and are located on the north side of Norfolk County Road 19 West in the township of Windham. Subject lands are zoned agricultural and there is a residential dwelling adjacent to the property. The surrounding land uses include agricultural lands, hazard lands, and provincially significant wetlands. The subject lands are designated agricultural in the Norfolk County Official Plan. and Section 4.2.3A 6 of the Norfolk County Official Plan states that the consent to sever land may be considered for technical reasons, including minor boundary adjustments. Planning staff are of the opinion that the boundary adjustment is in keeping with the intent of the official plan, as it would not create an additional separate lot. Instead, the subject lands are being boundary adjusted to the lot on 1805 Norfolk County Road 19 West. The subject lands are zoned agricultural in the Norfolk County zoning bylaw. The proposal will allow for more appropriate lot size for the proper dilution of nitrates. Staff have completed a site inspection and are of the opinion that the proposed boundary adjustment can be considered appropriate in this instance. It is the professional opinion of community planning staff that the boundary adjustment generally meets the intent of the Norfolk County Official Plan and the Norfolk County zoning bylaw. As such, planning staff support this application and recommend that it be approved.
Okay, thank you. That was 68, I believe. Questions of the planner? Dennis? So I have a motion by Dennis, seconded by Rudy, that the committee hereby approves the application to sever a parcel with a frontage of 14.67 meters, an irregular width of 14 meters, a depth of 45.72 meters, an area of 656 square meters as a boundary adjustment. Lands are to be added to the existing residential parcel located immediately to the west, roll number ending in 05500, making its final lot size 0.57 acres. The subject application does conform to the policies of the provincial policy statement, the Norfolk County Official Plan, and the zoning bylaw regarding boundary adjustments in the agricultural area, and that no public input was received, therefore not considered as part of this application. And of course, the conditions are outlined in the motion as well. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. '69, please.
An application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 60 meters, an irregular width of 60 meters, a depth of 67 meters, and having an area of 4,000